Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm Gamesplaining Sid Meier's Civilization, A New Dawn. In Civilization, each of you are running or looking after a civilization that is growing from the ancient days right through to modern era. Each of you starts with a capital city, as marked by that little mini, on a map that is covered by little chits or tokens that give you resource or other cities. There are 3 cards which show what you're actually working towards. These cards will change every game, and you have a choice of achieving one of the 2 options on each card. So for example, with this one, you need to get your tech wheel all the way around to the 24th spot, or you need to build 2 of the wonders of this color. You only need to achieve one of the options on each card in order to win the game. Throw your marker onto the card to show that you've achieved that card. Once one of the players has achieved something on each of the 3 cards, we finish that round and that is the end of the game. The person who achieved all 3 wins, unless multiple people manage to achieve the 3 cards at the same time, in which case the player with the most wonders will win the game. So how do we build up our civilization? Let's run through the core mechanisms. The game is built around this track. The concept is that on your turn you will play one of the 5 available actions. The actions are written out on each of these cards. Say I play this action. Once I play that action, everything that is to the left of that space moves up, and that action then appears back at number 1. So what are those actions? At the beginning of the game, everyone has the exact same cards. The first one is the astrology card, in which you will advance your tech dial according to the number of where the card is. If that card is at the number 3 position, you will move your tech dial forward 3 spots. If it's at the 5 position, you'll move it forward 5. And obviously, the next time you do that, it will move 5 forward from where it currently is. Every time you pass one of these markers, that enables you to change one of the cards that you have with a card that's from a future age. So because I just passed the number 2, I'll go through the number 2 cards. I will go through the number 2 cards and replace the matching symboled card that is of age 1 with the number 2 card. Those number 2 cards will give a slightly better ability than the number 1 card currently does. The next card is placing 2 control tokens. Now the tokens are matching the space of the terrain. So each of these numbers has a terrain type that's linked to it. Grasslands, hills, forest, desert, and rocky mountain. So if my card is in the number 1 location, I will add 2 of my discs to grasslands. These discs at the start of the game have to go next to a city you already have. You start with just the capital. So the grasslands around the capital are there and there. If my card, when I play it, is in position 2, that enables me to place my token on the hill location or the grassland. So anything that is dependent on the terrain type, you can use that terrain or lower from where the card currently is. The next card is the masonry card. That allows you to either reinforce a number of your tokens depending on where this card is. So if this card is in the number 3 position, I can reinforce 3 of my tokens. I only have 2 out here, so I'll reinforce both of them. Reinforcing literally looks like flipping the token over. So that's the unreinforced side, that's the reinforced side. The other thing you're able to do is make an attack, or 2 attacks in fact, within 2 spaces of a friendly location. So these are now friendly locations, as is the city, which means you can attack up to here, 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 or here. You cannot count across water, so there's nothing to attack in those spaces, so I won't be able to go into that. However, if there happened to be a barbarian token that was coming in close on where you are, you could launch your attack at that. An attack is rolling the dice. One player would roll for the barbarian, or if there's another city that you're going to attack, that would get rolled for, and you will roll your die. You will add the terrain or the number of where the card currently is. So I would add 3 to my roll if I was attacking with this card. If this card was here, I would be adding 4 to the roll. The defense, if you're a barbarian, is going to add the number according to the terrain they're in. So that barbarian is currently in mountain terrain, so he would add 5 to his roll. If you were to be attacking one of these cities, they count as having a defense bonus of 8, so you'll add 8 to the dice roll of the city-state. And if you're attacking a control token of another player, they have the bonus of the area they're in, +1 for each reinforced control token that is adjacent, including that one itself. So if this one was being attacked, it would have a +2 bonus because of that one, on top of the 2 for being in the hill area. So there's a whole bunch of minutiae on the adding and subtracting of that. You can look up in the rulebook for what happens on each particular action or when you're attacking. But in essence, there's a couple of bonuses up and down, and then you roll the dice. Now, I didn't say before, but every one of these cards has a little plus thing on the bottom. If you happen to have some of these tokens on your card, you can add that to your attack. So once you've rolled, if you have one of these and you want one more on the roll, then you can use that to add one to your dice roll. Once you've worked all of that out, the defending player wins any ties. If you are the winner, then you will either, if you're attacking a token, you'll replace it with your token. If you're attacking a city, you will replace it with your city. And if it was a barbarian, you'll just remove it from the board. The next card has 2 options on it also. Either build a wonder or build a city on a legal space. So if it was in number 3, a legal space is within forest or a terrain below, and it must be within 2 spaces of a friendly location, not going through any barbarians. So I could build my city there. You're not allowed to build cities next to other cities, so that's a fine location. I could not build there, as I would have to count through the location of a barbarian. However, there would be fine because I could count around the barbarian to get to my 2. If I were to put a token with this action in a later turn, I could place this here, which would allow me to take this. This is a resource of, in this case, diamonds, and that is a forever resource, so it's reoccurring. You don't ever use this one up. You've always got 1 diamond to be able to spend. Other resource tokens, so if you manage to take control of that territory, you take this resource. If you need to use that, you will spend it and you won't have it anymore. This one you will hang on to. The other action that this card allows you to make is to build a wonder. Now, the wonders are over here. There are 4 different types of wonder available. If you look in the bottom left corner of each card, there is a value. So each of those is valued 8, except for this one, which is valued 9. You're going to need to spend that number worth of resources in order to be able to build it. Your starting purchasing value depends on where you are on the track. So I'm using the card from line 3. So I've got a starting resource value of 3. So I need to fill in 5 other resources. Each of these tokens is worth 2. So if I spend 1 of them, that would bring me up to 7. So if I use that token, that will bring me up to 5. If I use that, I keep it, but it brings me up to 7. Then I can either use another one of these or one of the stone ones, because that's the resources listed on the bottom right corner, and I don't get change for using any excess. Or I could spend one of these if it happened to be sitting on the pottery card. When you build a wonder, say that was the one I built, I would place this card as a bonus within my play area, and I would place the matching wonder token underneath one of my cities. If that city in a future round gets attacked and beaten, that wonder would stay there and the city would cover it. And therefore, the bonus that comes with owning that city or controlling that city would go to the player who now has the city above the wonder. And as with all the others, once you use it, it goes back down to the bottom and everything else shifts up. The last action possible is the foreign trade, where you move your caravan. We start with one of these only. As that card gets upgraded, you'll get more caravans released and you'll have a greater distance you can travel. You're only able to travel over the terrain to the left of where that card is. So if I was to play that from here, this caravan can only head out from either the capital or a mature city. What is a mature city? A mature city is one that is surrounded by control tokens. So at the moment, there's 1 mature city. So if I've got a mature city, I can head from here. If I don't, then I'll have to head from the capital. I can go 3 spaces at the moment. So I'd go 1, 2, and then I'd be stuck. I wouldn't be able to go any further because I'm surrounded by forest and mountains. Or I could go 1, 2, 3, would be fine. I cannot go here because there's a barbarian just there. So let's say I get to there. When this comes through, and maybe it manages to get all the way up to number 5, I can then go to one of the cities. When I get to that city, I will take this card. This card gives me a skill. Each of the cities has 2 of those cards available. Once you have one from each city, you can't take another one from any of the cities. I would also get 2 of these tokens to put on any of the cards that I wish. And then the caravan will return back to your card. If I manage to visit a foreign city or a city controlled by another player, once again, I will take the 2 goods and place them wherever I wish, and then I will go through that player's diplomacy deck and choose one of the cards depending on what I wished it to do, and you can read on those later. I don't want to spend time on that at the moment. At the end of each round, the starting player will turn the dial on this disc 1 spot. When it points here, nothing happens. When it points there, all of the barbarians are going to move 1 space, 1 hex. Roll the die, and depending on which side is rolled, we use this to tell us which direction the barbarians are going to go. If we rolled a 1, each of the barbarians would move 1 hex that direction at the moment. This one is on a border, so it actually goes the opposite direction. If it's supposed to go onto water, it continues in that direction until it's not on water anymore. This guy would go 1 that direction, this guy would go to the other side of that water, this one will go 1 in that direction, this one will go 1 in that direction. If the dial is there, every mature city will give its owner 1 of these tokens to place on any of the cards that he wishes. So red currently has 1 mature city. If there was a token in this spot, then there would be 2 mature cities. Noticing that you can't put tokens in the water or off the board. So if you had a city here, it would only take 2 tokens to make it a mature city. And when the dial points to here, that respawns any barbarians that have been killed. They'll respawn on their spot. So this one would respawn back on the eye. They're all marked by letters, as are the spaces. I think that's about it. I hope I've covered everything in the rules. I hope this helps you get Civilization to the table. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you wish to be Gamesplaned, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to see what games I've been playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.